coming in right now, and it's gonna be right on timer. It's the Capital. So not gonna have the Maverick ban. It's Thatcher instead, which usually we see on, well, almost every single map. Thatcher is an incredible operator. That's exactly why he's removed all the time.
Yeah, so Maverick is going to be left into the pool, although his effectiveness on this map is not necessarily going to be as impactful as it would have been on the previous map. So it makes a little bit more sense to leave him in here on Clubhouse compared to the Capital. Defensive bans are following the trend that we had from the last map here, with Mira going first. If we end up with a Maestro or Echo, that is also going to be pretty much normal for global play here in Siege, and that's exactly what we'll get. Echo's gone yet again, so same defensive bans as the previous map.
Oh my god, you know what I just realized?
What's that?
No one played IQ.
That's true. Yeah, I don't think we had an IQ.
Not as the G8 isn't broken. Mexico says so.
There you go. I guess it's settled.
It's been debunked.
The end of that discussion. Move on to the next one.
Well, as soon as I say it, of course. I have
Someone's
never
listening. That's it.
Ravens. You know what? Ravens definitely.
Ravens in on the comms.
Oh man. But we are gonna have Estral starting off on defense here on Clubhouse. So we'll find out immediately what Timbers have to offer. And as soon as I say that, they're 6 picking away from the IQ, but they're sitting on it. Are they gonna lock it in? No, they're going for the Jackal instead. That's very interesting. We don't really see too many roam games here on Clubhouse. Maybe Mexico has something else to offer us. I'm super excited. I mean, them 6 picking away from an IQ to a Jackal could definitely tell you, okay, we're more than likely going to have some rotations happen. I'm excited to see how this round plays out now.
And we do have the upstairs hold from Estral as well. And in the meantime, we'll take a look at our most recent poll from you guys in the chat. Clubhouse is Estral's a map pick. We want to know who you thought was going to take this one. And, well, since it is their pick, it seems quite a few of you believe Estral are going to take it. 80% of you, in fact, with the other 20% favoring Timbers.
Shout out to the Timbers fans out there. We see you at 20%.
It's been flip-flopping a little bit, if you've noticed.
We have a bunch of turncoats in chat.
Yeah, we've got a couple bandwagoners, I think.
Next thing you're going to say is Tom Brady's your favorite quarterback.
Yeah. We'll see how the poll results will tell a lot by the end of this stream, I think, about where the fans truly lie. But we've got Timbers. Go ahead.
I was going to say, next thing we're going to have in chat is Messi versus Ronaldo. I'm waiting on it.
Yeah. It's going to get very normal here in a few minutes if we keep going down that path. But start things off for the Timbers. Quite a few players around garage, and oh, just a freebie here for Navy. Looks through the window. He's got the foot of Skimsy sticking out, so he's going to be able to kill him. Bye-bye to the mute.
Very unfortunate for him is now we have some torch work going down, and Biz very proficient with that torch. Don't think that it is as easy as it looks, folk. That torch is definitely something you got to take some time with and learn, and he did it in under a minute. We even see people inside of, major stands inside of lands that can't get this done properly. So definitely a big play there from Biz to get that done and out of the way so early on here. Timbers already set up for success.
Biz has been practicing that one. That was very quick, so proficiency to him on being able to use the utility so quickly. The Estral have been pressured pretty heavily into red. I think you've got 2 to 3 players hiding there right now, trying to keep themselves in the mix for this round. The additional crunch is also in progress here for Raven, and possibly a few other members of the Timbers still need to figure out where Navy's going to try to work himself in from, but they're working their way in through construction as well. If both of these angles find success, there's really no reason why Estral should be able to stay alive throughout the rest of the round. Should be a Timbers take all day long, but that's the big question, is on entry, who's going to pick up those first few kills? That'll be very important for determining who will more than likely be able to hold or take cash room. This is going to be the focus here for the next 20 to 30 seconds. Looks like Timbers were pretty much ready to go as well, but with still a minute remaining on the clock, they've chosen to delay things a little bit more and look for other opportunities that may come back to bite them, as at least in the last few seconds, they've lost Vector.
Yeah, and that stunted the growth of Timbers in this round. Hosky in the bottom of garage still by the main door. Doesn't seem like they have anything to be able to stop him either, unless Vector still had that Claymore in his hand. But Zigmas hops out the window with the pistol in hand. Can he do it? He can.
God.
my, can he follow it up as well? Still rocking that 44 mag. It's all down to Navy now, though, as Navy picks up one of his own. It's all left up to Funky in this one versus one. Only 25 seconds remain for them to try and get a diffuser down. It's all left up to Navy. He still has the stun grenades inside of his pocket as well. But the troublesome thing is Funky is indeed Maestro, but it's not even gonna matter. Timbers closes out the first round with Navy and a nice headshot.
Navy with some great plays. Not only does he get the closing 1v1 within the round itself, but he also gets that very nice find from the beginning, more than likely coming off of either his or a teammate's drone work, finding a player that was slightly peeked to, I think it was the gym window. And as a result of that, he's able to swing in and find a quick opening peek that set up Timbers for success throughout the rest of this round. Estral not going to reattempt that same site. They're feeling much more comfortable in the basement. So that'll be the battleground for their second round. And man, I cannot believe he got this kill on the 44 Magnum, man. I didn't even know that thing shot that fast.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The thing about it is, though, it has some of the craziest recoil in the entire game.
That's more, I guess, let me rephrase it. I didn't know you'd want to shoot that thing that fast. Like,
oh, man. That's why we usually just see the one tap, so we freak out when it happens. It's not the funnest game to aim with in the entire world. I can definitely tell you that. You miss that initial shot, you're, well, for all intents and purposes, probably, well, all intents and purposes, let me say this correctly, probably dead. That's usually how it goes with that thing, and that's exactly why they gave not only Kaid, but also Nomad a different secondary pistol, because those pistols are a very unorthodox thing to try and use. They both now have actually separate pistols. Defensive men over here, Kaid actually now brings a 44 mag to, or a Magnum to the table instead of that 44 mag, which I both believe are calibered in 44. So it's very confusing when it comes down to it, but one's a revolver and one's obviously not.
all right, guys, well, here we go. Basement hole. Things looking pretty straightforward for the Estral defense here. Just doing a few bits of reconstruction here on these soft panels, most notably around that hatch. You want to create a hole there so that the players with impact grenades on the defense can try and trick that in the event that a Habana or a Thermite tries to open things up. In this case, obviously, it'd be a Habana currently being played by Morphed. Already, players taking quick control of Garage for the Timbers and following that up with a bit of a drone work through Oil Pits. Not just there either. A lot more drone work being done as Biz now feels safe to move in here through storage and start taking the rest of the first and second floors away from Estral.
Timbers straight up knows that Estral is not holding any map control upstairs. That's why this is happening so quickly, whether it be prep phase, drone placements, or what have you. They're doing a very good job of chopping up the map quite early on and getting their Maverick in to be able to torch some hatches open. They also brought the Habana into play as well. That's going to be morphed this time around, though. We'll see if he can have any impact with her at all. Still working on the blue hatch. We'll have to see exactly how they wanted to take the downstairs. Usually when we see them lean towards that, it's also going to be in addition to a blue take with that dirt tunnel and also the kitchen hatch being opened up if they have enough hard destruction.
And this is actually a pretty nice soft destruction here for Navy. More than likely, he can actually deny the trick, possibly, if the player from Estral's in like the right spot for that one. So that can come out pretty handily in the event that they want to also breach their kitchen hatch.
See if it works out for him here. Only half the round remaining. Still plenty of presence on site with Estral downstairs. And this turtle, not too much utility burnt just yet, as there's still quite a bit of secondary utility in the pockets of the Timbers members. Only Navy that's really worse for wear right now as Vector set up his Claymore for flank watch, which could be dealt with pretty quickly. Timbers now very desperate for intel. As you can see, the drone economy has been hindered, trying to work their way down main stairs. Is quite a weird take now, as they've opened up blue to try and put some pressure, but now they're forcing into Moto. This could be heads-up gunfights here.
Taking a look at Raven, who's leading the charge from Moto itself, but other players still working on opening up other avenues of attack. You could see the Buck desperately looking for an angle against someone on the inside of Armory, but just not finding it. Vector and the rest of the team also needed to get into position. Vector most notably needed to take out that reinforced shield at the end of the hall, but things start in the favor of Estral as Zigmas picks up the first kill there from the shotty onto Biz. One player down, still 25 seconds to go, and no one else feeling the pressure to swing in yet. Zigma's got a great angle to play off of, but misaims on the readjustment for his third kill, will end up going down. Navy is also going to be able to pick up two for himself. most recently eliminating, of course, Toski. Fails to take out that little Wamai charge, so as a result of that, his flash is not going to pan out. But in the meantime, Morph sneaks in from Moto, and since the last two are restricted to the inside of Arsenal, he'll get the plan off in position to take the duel against Pixie as well, and comes out on top of it. Everything falls to Fungi again in a 1v2, but look at how low both of those players are. They didn't know where he was prior to that shot right there, but the jig is up. Whether he knows it or not here. Oh, it seems he's certainly aware of how low those players are. The impact not going to do enough, though. Doesn't down either of them. Just misses an opportunity to take out one as the cross is made. He's on the diffuser now. Still with a good amount of time to play off of, but he doesn't seem to have a good idea. The other player's hiding behind the minibar, currently wrapping around him. He downs Navy, but is not going to be able to spot the Hibana, so Timbers come out on top of round number 2.
Poor Fungi. I'm assuming that he thought since he impacted the empty space that Morph was no longer there and had quickly adjusted to somewhere else for greener pasture and try and maintain his life. But it was just a very unlucky placement on that impact, as it seemed like the black box got in the way or something along those lines. Either way, no shrapnel or damage came to the Habana, and he was able to clutch up because of that. Great rounds here from Timbers. We throw that up on your screen. Zigma's made a great stand on the triple wall in Church, but it was all for naught.
Fungi coming so close there, but as you said, the crucial misread on the Hibana hiding behind small bar leads to his and the rest of Estral's demise in that second round. Coming very close to it, though, and the overall setup from them was working out fine, despite the great overall, the ideas, I guess you could say, that we had from Timbers in that round, being able to open up a lot of the angles for the Buck to play through, try to trap players. No one from Estral really played into that at all. So unfortunately, that overall part of the strategy from Timbers didn't really work out. But despite that, still was able to get themselves on site with the plant and ultimately win it. Very impressive stuff there from Timbers.
Looking to the bans right now, at least, and chalking it up to see exactly which way this could potentially lead. Clubhouse is traditionally a defender-sided map. We've talked that into the ground on multiple occasions, as has everybody, as this is the mainstay map to learn about, utility exchange and what have you. This is usually the map to go to that everyone tells you to watch when you start watching Siege. So for now, though, it seems that things are pretty even-keeled. I'm actually very surprised that Estral was not able to pick up that last round, especially after the way that Timber started things off. It really seemed as though they wanted to go for the blue dirt take, try and push into Armory, but that wasn't it at all. Instead, they started off by getting that open and immediately rotating. But no, Vector gets a kill, but no, he's going to go for 2 now. This is another challenge from Toski, and he just feeds right into the machine of Timbers.
Interesting start to the round for sure, and it's going to pull the players in dirt back to the site. They were trying to go for a bit of an extended hold up there to make things difficult when push eventually came to shove within the site itself, but now they've got to figure out exactly what's going on here. They've lost 2 players in a very non-traditional fashion, and it's really thrown off the balance for the rest of this round. Estral has to be very careful about the rest of the moves that they're going to try to make, and thankfully for them, all 3 players were already back at sites. They mainly just need to preserve their current positions, but Timbers have their pick of the litter here now. They've got a pretty big advantage to work off of to get themselves towards the site.
Well, here's the truly terrifying thing. The only member of Timbers to die was Navy. Navy's Buck. But if we switch over to the defense and look exactly who died, Wamai died, and he's the only man that can deny throwables in this lineup right now. And he was not alive for very long. He has a maximum of 2 to 3 discs down right now. And there goes one of them, and it didn't even grab a piece of utility. This means that Raven, the Ying, is going to be extremely, extremely useful inside of this round.
They're going to get dropped down by Biz, but no success from it. What we will see, however, is a player going to get sent flying from a Nitro Cell placed by Zigmas. Played by him, that evens things back out into a 3v3, and Zigma's potentially going to look for more here, having to swing between both the main stairs and the blue/oil pit push. He's going to be under a lot of pressure in that respect. Vector with a good read here catches Zigmas before he goes for the aggressive swing onto him. Not so much the case for Pixie, though. He gets the better of the players that are trying to swing for Moto, and they work together, the final 2 that is, to take out the last one alive here on Timbers. Estral finally on the board for their defense as they pick up a 1-2 scoreline.
So Estral loses 2 members right off rip, coming down secret into blue, and then win that round, but they didn't win the last one when everything seemed to go their way. That's a very, very weird instance there, but nevertheless, great hold from Estral and great game sense to lock down all of those pushes from Timbers, even down to the last kill where we saw the crossfire coming in from both sides.
Really great and, more importantly, very conserved play from Estral, which is exactly what we needed out of that situation. Despite the passive nature of what we saw from them, though, still bringing out hints of aggression when they were needed, overall making it a very smart way to try and close out that 3v4 situation that they had put before themselves. So it's back upstairs now for Estral to try the fourth round, although interestingly enough, it's not going to be over cache and CCTV, which is unlocked for play for them currently. They're going to go over to Gym Bedroom instead. Makes sense if they have more confidence in this hold, considering that the cache CCTV hold did not go that well when they attempted it back on round 1.
They're still going to be bringing the Kaid, which this is actually quite a weird one to be bringing Kaid on, mainly because, well, Thatcher's banned. I mean, I understand why they're doing it. The main reason that they're not bringing the Bandit is because since Thatcher's banned, they have to Mav torch everything open to try and find stuff. They don't want it sitting at the base of the wall. It's much rather use the Electro Claws to put them up somewhere to electrify the walls instead. I think it's a great play, but for Timbers, this is a time for one of those adjustments to happen. Let's see some IQ come in here and try and get rid of something, especially after last round where it seemed like everything was going your way. It's a 100% winnable for you, and suddenly everything goes wrong. Even when it comes down to taking out the 1 early, you no longer have to deal with a utility burn. You just have to strictly deal with the players on the defense using their utility towards you. Still weren't able to do it. Great drone work though, and okay, well, Biz types lots of words and Vector gets a kill, and that's exactly how it happened. There you go.
I thought that was like, I thought we were gonna have a rehost, like a really unfortunate rehost called right there, because Dimsy just kind of sat there and took the shot, unfortunately, as he's not gonna get a chance to even move his mouse against that swing. Very aggressive opener from the Timbers, but works out well into their favor.
Overall aggressive play from Estral, though, as well. We don't ever really see anyone sit inside of Oil Pit to start the round, especially there when it comes to Jim. I obviously understand that you're trying to catch the man off guard, and it's a great play, but it appears that Timbers have woken up in the info game.
That's certainly going to help to keep them in this series, if indeed they'll be able to carry that through and give them a good scoreline coming off this half. Great find from Vector now, yet again. Marks his second on the round, finding Fungi through the wall. Some good drone intel, I'm sure, assisting him in that. Overall, amazing start here on the intel game from Timbers. Just off of their droning alone, they've gotten 2 kills, but they had a similar situation transpire in the previous round, and Estral was still able to turn it back. So do not count your chickens before they've hatched here, as we're already starting to see signs of the turnaround. Sigma's finding a first pickup, but it is immediately traded there by Biz to bring us down to a 4v2. No one's even watching the construction hold anymore here, so Morph's going to walk right in, kill Toski, and the last player left alive tries to swing back, but it's not going to pan out. Pixie goes down. Timbers get a quick round number 4 in their favor.
Well, it seems that the chickens quickly became chicken nuggets, because that was a fry fest right there. That was insane there from Timbers. Very nice execute. Amazing kill. Zigma's trying to bring it back inside of Cash with a very nice pick, but was immediately stopped in his tracks. So it seems that Timbers has the game plan set in stone when it comes to the offense here on Clubhouse. They're going to be going back to Gym Bedroom. Now this is the time for Estral to be put up on the chopping block. Let's see what the adjustments they can possibly make are. Then this is going to be a big one here. They're stopping the Wamai. They're going to actually 6-pick away from him and bring the castle instead. Not the worst thing in the world. Granted, they are going to be giving up those discs that are very important to that utility burn meta. But in exchange, they'll have the castle barricades, which could cut off some very important lines of sight. And it will also make it to where the offense will more than likely dedicate some utility to those.
Overall, the offense should have plenty of utility to deal with that, though, between Vector and Raven. That alone should be enough in order to get things open for them to play off of. It's just going to limit their soft breach potential in other areas of the map, more than likely. A bit of more of a utility drain, which ultimately, that's what the Wamai was going to do anyway. Just a different form of utility that will get drained out by barricading those windows.
That's the thing about Rainbow Six Siege, is there's a million different ways to do the same thing.
Pretty much exactly, yeah. Slight variations on how those things are accomplished, I suppose.
Yeah, obviously, there's always a more preferred way of doing it that's obviously going to be better than the others, but there's definitely other ways to force a utility burn and what have you. But the main way right now is that Jaeger Wamai. I like the castle pickup. I especially like it with the proximity sensors that they're bringing, mainly because Zigmas and Toski both have nitro cells, which is something we've seen used in tandem before in order to confirm those nitro cell kills later into the round.
Even away from that, on top of this, there's been quite a few situations now within just this half that Timbers have been able to open up a window or get a player into a good position and just completely destroy a member of Estral. Often with them even being aware of it either. So this is going to help hopefully with those flank watches, which for the defense on Estral right now are a little bit lackluster.
Also a utility we don't see very often just because of the meta that we're in, right? As much as we talk about it, but they're kind of lackluster when it comes down to what they accomplish. Obviously, it's still good. It's intel, but you have to be able to capitalize off of it. All it is simply is a beep. So unless you're able to do something with it, that's all it is. It's the same as your phone going off.
Vector continuing to look for angles with a very appropriate namesake, I should say, is going to be holding this incredibly extended hold on the outside rappel. It's even safe for him, too, because he can just go slightly to the right and get off the angle. But Sigma's once again going to start us off hot for Estral as they're able to take out a Raven this time.
Well, still plenty of crosses held here for Timbers. Waiting to see if Estral will possibly make a misstep, but very, very patient gameplay. I have a nitro cell currently ripped inside a bathroom, waiting for Timbers to step inside of the jacuzzi wall. Still nothing to be had as stun grenades go off, but no real map aggression here from Timbers. Amazing play from Estral to be this patient. We haven't seen them be quite this patient this entire map, but it seems now that the aggression is going to be real. Toski, with some very good game sense, knows that Navy's outside, picks up the initial kill that they need. Raven to follow as well, and that's the diffuser out on the jacuzzi balcony.
Great irony following up your speech, at least. But after we were just talking about how passive Estral had played, a big swing from not just one, but two players is going to push their advantage even further. Morphed will get killed on a window hop in. Biz is the last one standing. He's able to trade out Fungi. He has positioning on a second player. Oh, somehow Toski doesn't get that kill, and Biz comes out on top of another one. Can he push this even further, though, as it's down to a 1v3? He's got just over 25 HP to work with. Unfortunately, the answer is no. It cannot be pushed any further. Zigmas is going to shut things down, although Biz certainly gave us a show.
Oh, apologies right there. I was drinking some naked juice, and that just happened. So, I almost choked on blueberry or blue machine, whatever it is.
Fair,
I don't know what
on that kill, it seems like way more fault needs to go over to Toski not getting it rather than his opponent getting it. But still, that was impressive nonetheless.
Listen, that shotgun is a gift and a curse. That's all I'm gonna say. There's some times where you're like, oh, dude, there's no way this guy lives, and the pellets just don't hit them.
They just all they just all fly away. It seems.
Oh man, it's just I swear it's the biggest RNG gun in this game. You either get like a shotgun shell just loaded for bear, or the next one is made for like doves, and it just like hits the front of you, and it's like, oh, it's paintballs. We just we wipe them off. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
All right, guys. So some success from Estral to keep them in the running here, and what's been, to be fair, not the greatest defensive half when we expect more defensive-sided halves to come out of this map. Estral, unfortunately, have not delivered that. The best case scenario they're going to be looking at is a 3-3. Timbers more than likely already happy with the scoreline, and if they can push it even further to a 4-2, well, that would just make their day.
This is interesting. Toski bringing the castle barricades downstairs, but not going to be used in the traditional way that we're used to now, which would be that SSG roam that everyone knows so very well. But as you guys can tell from the lineup, that's exactly the opposite of what is happening. This is going to be an anchor setup. Shouldn't have too many roamers, mainly because there's no one that can truly roam in this lineup unless you're willing to risk a lot of problems. So seems for right now, Timbers are going to have to find their way through this, and they've done a very good job so far on their offensive side, at least taking initial map control. They get a lot of work done early, particularly on this church site, where we see a lot of that mav from Biz working on these hashes.
Still quite a while to go, however, before we more than likely see Timbers get themselves ready for an execute here. A lot of hatches to be dealt with, along with a few other things. Estral's not really been one for the extended roam game when it comes for their basement holds, and when they have tried it, it hasn't led to too much success, so it's not much of a surprise that we're going to see Timbers clear things out on the first and second floors relatively quickly to now allow for them to start setting up their hatch clears with still over 2 minutes on the clock.
Well, the torch work starts now for Biz. He works hard for his money, folks, so he's torching for the next little while. Morph does have more hard destruction, obviously, with that Habana they could possibly use, but But right now, Estral lies in wait as Timbers continues that work upstairs. Not too much secondary utility usage, but exactly wouldn't expect that right now, especially with the timestamp that we are in the round. Timbers now adjusting their attack. The previous rounds, they really wanted that church control, but as we can see from Morph using his X-Kairos on dirt, they actually want to try and go for something a little bit different this time.
A little soft breach onto the wall, once again, hopefully opening up the angle that they can use to counter the denial of the hatch opening, if that wasn't already done by Timbers, of course. And in the meantime, they do actually have a player on Estral fully committed to dirt since that's been opened up. They're a little bit cautious of someone trying to swing in from behind them through dirt. Vector is going to be the one trying to push in through blue in the meantime. It's already got access to the stairs, but it's always getting past this big AC unit or generator, whatever it is that's in the middle of the room. That's the challenge, as you can quite obviously see. There's a player hiding behind it, and he's feeling a swing. So Skimsy runs out, quickly deals with Vector. No blue control going to Timber, at least not yet.
That just hurts your feelings when you see that happen. That's a heartbreaker. Raven, though, now trapped inside of mud. He still has the possibility of flanking out, but no, it's going to be Fungi with the swing in between the stun grenades. Very intelligent way to play that situation. Navy's, though, with the initial trade here is, oh no, it's all Estral all over the place. Toski now with 2, but Navy trades it back once again. Oh, it's all up to Navy in that 1 versus 4, now 1 versus 3, but Pixie shuts him down inside of blue. Estral with round 6, and we're 3-3 on the half.
So tied up makes it an even game, but as we said before, still overall definitely an advantage to Timbers being able to come out with 3 attacking rounds. With that said, as we flip halves here, Timbers as well have some issues on their defense that do need to be fixed. There's just as much of a chance that we could see Estral start to work their way back into it from an attacking side as well. They're not safe just yet. Timbers are in a pretty good position right now.
Well, as we switch sides, we'll have to see how Timbers wants to handle this. Overall, it really seemed like we just played Theme Park over again, at least for the initial half. It was just very minor changes that ended up working out in either team's favor, depending on obviously which way it landed. This was a little bit more back and forth, but the rounds ended up going the exact same way on both sides. So for Timbers, they went 1-2, and then round to the other side for Astralis going 1 and then 3, and then Estral went 1, 2, 3 right after the round that they gave up to Timbers. Excuse me. So I feel like they're definitely neck and neck in a lot of categories. I feel as though Estral is just a tick better at offense. It really seems to be the differentiating factor in between these two.
We'll take a look at how exactly Timbers are going to try and play this defense. We talked about how roaming can be quite difficult on this map, and it's going to be just as much of a difficulty for the Timbers here as they move into the second half, where they, of course, have control over the defense. A pretty standard operator lineup here for when it comes to defending these two sites. The only thing I would note is the fact that they've got both the Bandit and the Kaid. Normally, you're only going to see one of those two. Doubling down on it isn't necessarily going to be a bad thing, as it allows you to outwit any potential counters to the breaches. However, the problem to this is that Thatcher is banned, so you don't necessarily need to counter that out, and there is no counter to a Maverick. So this is more than likely going to have mixed results at the end of the day.
Yeah, the only counter to Maverick is to shoot him in the face. That's the simple thing. I know it's a very blunt statement, but that's legitimately what you have to do. You have to kill the guy, otherwise he's going to get this wall. And as we've now seen from both of these Mavericks, they're pretty dang quick at it.
Yeah, and this could have possibly just been like a misread, as Timbers may have expected Estral to bring, or to just try and, open it normally with opening it up from the bottom with the Zofia, and that's where the Kaid would be able to come into play, as obviously you can chuck them from range and delay a little bit further. But yeah, that could have just been a slight little misread in Timbers' strategy going into this round. Nothing too big to write home about at the end of the day, as the wall is going to get opened regardless of any attempts to counter it from Timbers there.
This is some of the best back-to-back map torching I've seen in a very long time, I'm going to be honest. And that comes from a full season of Stage 1 inside of NA. We've seen some very botched walls happen, but none yet between these two teams. We'll have to see if that stays true throughout it. It's very hard to be consistent with that thing. Sometimes it's just one pixel of metal that keeps that wall closed, and that could be your demise if you step up to torch that away. Plenty of map control now in the hands of Estral as they've taken full west side control. We'll see if the story continues as they hear someone rotating upstairs. It's actually going to be Navy, but instead he rotates down. More than likely a good idea, especially since it seemed that Estral really wanted that gunfight.
We've got Timber starting off well here. Vector finding the first kill against the Thermite as well, so it eliminates more of that hard breach potential, which was coming in pretty handy over here in areas like construction more than likely, but no longer can it be the case. Spectre is going to lose a lot of HP, and Raven is not even going to get a chance to run away from that frag grenade. It sails right onto his head and immediately explodes. The good news is Biz is there just a moment later to punish players trying to push their way in from other angles. It's going to bring us down into a 4v3 where Timbers still have control of things, and more importantly, as you can see, the diffuser is down in an area that Estral might not be able to easily get it back from.
Yeah, well, now here's the problem. Oh, we might have a possibility of a kill. Zigmas hops in good time as well, but I believe they heard him. Oh, no, couldn't choose his target in time on which side he wanted to be on. But now it's left up to Pixie. Oh, my God. The SMG-11 in hand. 2 headshots quickly back to back. And it's 2 SAS members up against each other in this 1 versus 1. Vector on the flank, and he catches it. But no, it's a trade in between the 2. And Estral wins the round instead.
Yeah, so just to show you guys this, obviously this is a bit of a different mechanic from other competitive FPSs. It is possible for players to kill each other at the same time in this game. As Stokes just said, it's a trade. But under those circumstances, the defenders will win that trade if it's the last 2 players, unless the diffuser is planted. That is the only time where the attackers will win that exchange.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. Estral just won.
Wait a minute. Yeah, that's not right. Hold on a second.
The Matrix is
okay. I guess I'm wrong then. Never mind. Just ignore everything I just said.
Listen,
my bad.
From my history, from at least what I know, which I'd like it's a decent amount, right?
Yeah.
That's the way that it goes. It is.
Right, like the way I said it is the way it's supposed to go, right?
You're completely correct. But yeah. I think within recent history, something's changed with inside of the game. So again, don't take our word as gospel. There has been things that have changed. Either way, though, that round does go into the hands of Estral. Don't allow our quizzicality to hinder your watching of what's going on and how well Estral's doing. Either way, that was an insane trade there in between those 2, especially the fact that they're not only both low HP, but they're both using the exact same gun and they both hit headshots at different levels. Like the amount of randomness that was inside of that was truly insane.
About as close to an even fight as you're going to get right there in that sort of situation. So really crazy duel to come out on top of it. Just a bit of a weird result because of the trade rules that's supposed to work, but I guess is not the case any longer. Maybe it's like, I guess it's like hit reg then, because I'm pretty sure the Estral kill showed up first. Maybe it's the first one to register.
I'm not a professional player, man. Yeah, I don't know.
That's one for Ubisoft to figure out for us, I guess.
I just talk good and stream every once in a while. That's all I do.
So anyway, getting into round number 8 here. Estral obviously has the advantage to play off of and are now going to be on the attack once again here. Taking a look at their overall opener. Not looking too dissimilar from the previous round here. Got quite a few members of Timber still out and about from the sites themselves, looking to cause problems here for Estral as they go for their usual clear. There's going to be a little bit of fighting potentially happening on the off-site phase of this round.
Well, plenty of utility now as the Timbers have figured it out after that last round. You need a lot more utility to stop the offense from doing what they want to do. What a rotation from Vector as well. Read into what Toski wanted. He wanted to rotate up Secret and get rid of the man trying to lock down the main wall. But now they're stuck, and the problem is, well, actually, no, I take that back. Skimzy is up, and they actually do have the wall open. So actually a slightly weird rotation there from Toski to be downstairs. They didn't actually need to do that. I just assumed since he was down there that was the case, but it's not. Minute and 40 remain. What a shot from Sigma's, a flick, but Timbers immediately fight back. Oh, show your teeth, my friends. Yet another Nitro cell kill, and it's all left up to the Thermite inside his sight. He has the diffuser in hand, but what good is that when there's 4 guns trained on you?
Unfortunately, not much good in this sort of a situation here. Fungi, with plenty of time left to play this, has really all the time he would want to try and make the situation work out. Both drones, according to the UI, are active as well, so we could potentially try to utilize those in order to get intel. Trying to bring out a drone in a 1vx, especially one where he believes he has players very close to him, judging from the way he's playing right now, is probably going to be just too dangerous for him to even consider doing that, though, is if there is a player too close to him and he throws out the drone, that could lead to an immediate death, just because of the animation that it takes you to go in and out of the droning phone, or whatever you want to call it.
It's just another Android device. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's you know, put in whatever you want. Raspberry Pi. That's what I'm gonna say. It's a Raspberry Pi.
We don't have
phone.
a name for that thing. I guess I'm just gonna call it the drone phone from now on.
It's the D phone.
That sounds right, doesn't it? The drone phone. I like that.
Oh no, we can't have the shortened version of drone phone, guys. I just got told by production. Oh no.
Right.
Well, unfortunate. Anyways, moving on, drone phones and all. Church Arsenal is next up after a botched round there from Estral where they're not able to win out on those trades. It seemed that Timbers was able to overthrow everything they wanted to accomplish.
All right, guys. So we'll work ourselves into this next round here. Round number 9, where both teams are now neck and neck. A 4-4 scoreline. Estral certainly still in control of things, but with Timbers taking control over that last round and now going into a basement defense, they are primed to take the lead for themselves and try to take the second map to tie us up at a 1-1 scoreline. If not, and Estral is able to run the distance, they're going to be at a 2-0 lead in the best of 5 series, meaning they'll just need that one additional map in order to close things out.
They are going to be bringing the castle downstairs as well. We'll see if it's going to be the usual setup that we're used to seeing, or if it's going to be what we saw from Estral on their defense, which was castle barricades played downstairs, no roam game. That seems to be exactly what the doctor ordered here for Timber's side, as things are mostly focused downstairs. Full map control given up to Estral upstairs. Let's see if they can get into the map. It will get into the map and get these hatches open as fast as their competitors.
I already see a bit of work being done here by Estral. Obviously, it's going to be some time before we get players close to each other and initial combat kicking up, but quite a few are going to be focusing on that to start, especially considering it's a basement defense from Timbers. It's pretty smart for Estral to focus on droning, I would say, for this first minute or so of the actual round, when you consider how aggressively Timbers has tended to play into these maps when they're given the opportunity to. So a lot of focus in the clear right now. It seems like they do definitely have an idea of Vector's position. He's the one who was upstairs as of a few moments ago. Although I don't believe that's the case any longer.
This is going to be very difficult for Timbers to win out if things start to get hairy upstairs, mainly because of the cutoff points that have been established by Estral. That single panel is usually reinforced mainly because of this exact thing. And well, for right now, at least for the time being, Estral does not know exactly how to take this. The castle barricades aren't in those usual spots that we're used to seeing on the SSG roam either. They have their own idea about it. Bullets are soon flying through, but Estral's now in the building. Toski putting bullets to brains here, but actually bullets to bodies instead. Now working his way through. Morph's been down inside of security. Raven's in tow, though, and can possibly pick him up. We could have a frag grenade.
no.
That's exactly what's going to happen. He confirms the kill onto Morph and does some damage to Raven in the process.
Raven's going to lose about half of his HP there. So 3 still remaining for the Timbers. Now all of them have fallen back to sight. So Estral has this remaining minute and 20 seconds or so in order to line up their attack here. Some good drone or some good camera positions, I should say, is going to give the members of Timbers good info about what's going on in the kitchen. We can see a bit of a duel going on as well between Navy and I believe it was Pixie on the other side of that one from back at top kitchen. And try and fire off some shots, but not going to find much for it. However, here's a swing opportunity from Biz, and it works out perfectly for him. Says bye-bye to Zigmas, and there is no chance from anyone on Estral to trade that, as they're far too far up the main stairs to get in a position to catch him.
Well, the kitchen hatch has now been opened with only 40 seconds remaining. Drones in for some intel deep inside of Armory. Now, the Timbers have to hold things down. 30 seconds remain as Estral's barreling down towards site. Don't have blue control just yet, though, as Timber's still in control of all the very important points, but Navy's been forced back into dirt. He doesn't have much health either, as it seems like it could possibly be a quick drop here from Estral. No presence over here on the eastern side of the map, as that seems to be the main game plan right now for what they're holding. Biz with a beautiful shot. Raven follows it up as well, but it's Pixie and Fungi who is actually getting a diffuser down deep inside of Armory. Biz has to rotate as the Nitro Cell is also going to be thrown. Pixie picks up a kill. It's down into Raven's 1 versus 2 situation, but no, he can't even accomplish that either. Fungi gets off the defuse and immediately puts a bullet inside of him. So Raven away with that, and Estral with a round. And it also seems that we're going to be having to rehost.
Well, Estral still coming out on top with the 1-round lead over Timbers at a 5-4 scoreline, heading into another basement hold here for Timbers.
You caught me off guard with water in my mouth. Apologies.
It's all
Anyways,
good. You can leave a gap.
I'll leave the gap. We'll gap them real quick. So, headed downstairs for Church Arsenal. Double hard breach now, actually triple hard breach now for Estral. And this is something that we're used to seeing inside of NA here on this map. All the hard destruction in the world can definitely help you when it comes to Clubhouse. Other maps, not so much, but this one, you can definitely find an application for almost every single one of these guys, especially with the early picks that we've been seeing between these two teams. It's never a bad thing to be able to guarantee some hard destruction.
Yeah, and this is especially useful on this site specifically, just because it goes back to the thing I was talking about before, where you'd want to bring multiple hard breaches, just because you can kind of overwhelm the defender's utility in the fact that you have more hard breach than they have utility to stop the hard breaches. And that's pretty much what we're going to have here. Is obviously, first of all, the defenders aren't running any impacts. They wouldn't have to worry about it anyway. But even if they did, all of the hard breach that they did would easily outnumber the number of impacts.
All right, well, Timbers still loving their castle barricades, as they'll be throwing up those, as well as some standard barricades as well to try and slow this offense of Estral. Could possibly work out as well, as even those standard barricades, as little as it seems their use is, they actually have quite a good application into the game. They're a very good noise cue maker, or sound cue maker, excuse me, because obviously you have to punch them or shoot them in order to get them open, and you have to deal with them no matter what if you're trying to go through that route. There's no silent way to handle one of those barricades, so that's some abuse that we see every once in a while from teams, and it's nice to be seeing it held up inside of Mexico.
Seems he's taking a minute there to get that breach open on Dirt Tunnel, but he does get the job done. Arguably using a little bit more fuel in the flamethrower than he might have wanted to. And now he gets a chance to possibly scrap here the next couple of seconds. There's a player holding in blue. He's got the nade prime for it, but that player is very much ready to avoid that. And at the same time, another player is going completely unaccounted for, but he also overswings and gets traded out by Toski, who was holding at the main door the whole time anyway. Great shot from Estral and great setup from Estral to make sure that they don't lose their Maverick in the event that he had that situation happen to him, where he over pushes and ultimately gets taken down by a player he couldn't account for.
Timbers got their pick and quickly scampered back off to site, but not before that kill happened onto Morph. So it's pretty equal. Granted, obviously Skimzy is the Maverick, and that is the only hard destruction in the game that is completely undeniable unless you kill him. So and it is going to be a little bit worse for wear here, but still have plenty of hard destruction since they did go for the triple hard destruction instead of the double in which we had been seeing. But now the timer's gotten decently low here, and we're into the latter half of the round. Timbers have to sit on this utility and see exactly what Estral have to offer. Seems that for the time being, they're going for this kitchen attempt on the hatch. Nitro cells burn for Raven, as he's going to continue to try and fight up through the hole. Quite a bit of damage dealt to Pixie, but it's actually only going to be half as those metal bars continue to catch rounds.
Timbers, in the meantime, maintain the man advantage with the elimination of Toski. Keep themselves at 4, still standing tall at this point. Oh, and another member from Estral is actually going to get taken down, trying to crawl out of the oil pit ladder right there. Vector finds himself an easy kill, trapping a player in that position, but at the same time, another trade is found from Estral as Fungi takes out the player holding in blue. 3 still standing for the Timbers. They'll use this frag grenade. That may actually take out another one, and there you go. Right up on top of Vector. Pixies evened it back out, and we're into a 2v2.
Well, the last thing you can say is that, the last thing you can't say is that this is not entertaining. This is truly incredible what they're able to accomplish with all these trades. Pixie again into the double, but they need to be able to get this diffuser down. It's in Fungi's hands as well. Pixie, not very much HP, but he's done it before, and he can definitely do it again. Raven slams a mag into that MPX. He's got to try and find some room to breathe, but he can't even do that. Pixie, yet again for Estral, shuts it down on round 10.
Them all out and putting Estral into a 6-4 position, I believe, on the scoreline, which is also going to put them on map point. Best of 5, guys, so not match point just yet, even though the game says it is. But it is going to take them into a 2-0 lead if they can control over this one.
This is just such an interesting series. I've never seen Siege so neck and neck like this with trades that are so weird. That's the thing about it, is the trades happen in such unorthodox fashion, whether it be a nitro cell explosion across the map or somebody randomly wall bangs a door or what have you. It just seems that almost at any given moment, there is not a massive disparity in between the amount of people alive on each team.
That's some credit going to Estral for some great pre-placed drones in that round too. That gave them immediate intel onto anyone from Timbers that was going to be holding an arsenal. And I'm pretty sure they had advanced intel on the Valkyrie through all that time too. And that's all from the good droning work being done from Estral there in order to set themselves up and be able to even get, you know, the confirmed pings, the red pings you guys saw at the end of the round off there from those drones.
Well, for possibly our last round here on the beautiful, beautiful clubhouse, you know, it's just such a nice place to be with all of the gray walls and gray floors and, you know, mildly other gray walls.
A little bit of red.
There's a little red. There's a little green as well around. It's very, you know, biker club, almost like it's a biker club.
Look at the bedroom has some nicely, you know, well, we just moved away from it now, but the bedroom has some like nice exposed brick in it. You know, that can be a nice interior design element. You're going for that modern style.
The funniest thing about the master bedroom here is that the bed doesn't have a bed frame.
That's right, it's just a mattress on the ground, right?
Remember, folks, only date people that have a bed frame.
Just insulted like way too many people.
Hey, listen, I was there at one point in time. It's not fun. It's not a fun time.
That was like one of the first things I bought when I moved out of my parents' house, was my own bed frame. I was like, I'm not going to be ridiculed for this. Anyway.
It was a personal attack on John, and I didn't even know.
Estral are moving in. They've already been able to open up the primary balcony leading into CCTV. So that will be an avenue to start their push from. Hatch has been opened up into Logi 2, although that's more of an intimidation tactic than anything at this point, I believe, to try and keep the player that's hiding in Logi in check. Husky is going to get off to a good start here once again for Estral, although he will get kind of traded. He'll be downed at least. However, he's in a safe enough position to where someone should be able to bring him back up.
Yeah, but Morph is high talented. He doesn't have anything that he can possibly do to try and stop him from picking him up, obviously, unless he's able to get some sort of vision onto him, but he doesn't have any impacts or anything to be able to assist in opening a larger hole, which could possibly give him more vision. Instead, he's going for the punch holes in the garage panel. He gets a kill for it, though, as Toski's not aware and or heard the audio cue of that happening. So now hard destruction off the board, but do still have two in hand.
Diffuser are also down in a bit of a peculiar spot right now, so that's a minor thing that Estral are going to have to work past. It shouldn't be too big of an issue, though. Once they start the actual execute, players like Raven and Navy aren't going to be paying too much mind to that window anymore, and someone should be able to swing over there and grab it pretty quickly. But it is something they're going to have to move someone out of the way specifically to go get, as you're more than likely seeing with the Ash right now.
Okay, well, Navy's shield has now been destroyed inside of the bathroom rotate. Usually you see that kept open until this wall is blown up, and then they immediately reinforce it with a pocket reinforcement that they keep on them, but that's not the case here. They'd much rather play the deployable shield and try and combat it some other way, but that could be some trouble now, as there's been plenty of lines of sight established for Estral. A grenade in. Oh, this could be quite a bit of damage, but no, Navy's going to live through it. Pixie rushes through the smoke and immediately traded back, but now they're waiting for the rush. Estral is everywhere and nowhere all at once. Skimsy and Zigma's lighting up the scoreboard, and all of a sudden Morphed is the only man alive. 20 seconds remain, but they know where he is. The diffuser's outside. This could be a freebie right on this hop, and that's exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be a down. Is he just going to sprint away now? Is that the game plan? Morphed, this is all left up to the game sense, my friend. It doesn't seem like it is going to work, as you said, but he has to find a place to plant. Shifts all the way over to plant next to Stash instead. Where is Morphed, though? That's the real question. He's inside of construction. He's going to have plenty of time to be able to swing this as well. Does he know where he's planting? He does. What a round from Morph to be able to keep that alive for Timbers.
Morph with some amazing heads-up play after being able to down a player early on in direct contest, has the big rotate over to Garage, where he becomes really the menace of Estral for the rest of that entire round, not only finding the kill through the soft panel on the Garage, but as we saw at the end, holding the angle against the diffuser too. I brought that up in the mid round. That should have been a minor thing that Estral should have been able to handle earlier on, but they chose to delay it, and as such, the Defenders Wamai is able to defend that and close out the 1v2.
Okay, well, we're going to have a last-second adjustment on sites. We're going away from Church and headed to CCTV. Have a 6-pick off of the Vigil as well. Headed over towards the Goyo. Goyo, once again, an operator that is seen quite often inside of the Mexican division. So we'll see how they want to apply him to this site. Headed up to CCTV. I don't assume that they're going to be using his shields in any of the... Oh, my God. I just realized something.
What?
Oh, never mind. They have Omai, but they don't have Jaeger. And that could be a big problem, especially with how fast Estral's getting the wall open. because they have plenty of frag grenades. And since the only shields that they are offering are ones that are a double, you know, dual-edged. What am I looking for here? Double-edged sword. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Anyways, since they're bringing things that are a double-edged sword, meaning if you blow it up, you're probably going to end up killing the defender behind it. That could be some pretty hot water.
It could just be more of the delay tactic more than anything. Like, they're not actively going to hold on the shields. They may just be there so that the attackers kind of have to blow them up and they have to waste time. But the same problem still applies. As you said, due to the fact they have so many nades, they can safely take those out still very early on in the round. And ultimately, they won't make much of an impact in actually delaying Estral's attack if that's what they're going to be used for.
13 throwables and only a possibility of, I believe, 7 discs for my. So you can definitely see the discrepancies there and how that is more than likely going to be a problem. But not if Timbers are able to try and remove a couple of these factors off of the board. So it's going to be all about the early picks here for Timbers. They've been able to accomplish this quite a few times. We'll have to see if this round's any different.
Vector taking a top angle here to try and spot any players that might push garage early on. Also note that there is no active hold on catwalk here for the players on Timbers, so that's another factor they have to pay very close attention to. Instead, they're trying to get aggressive just below the breach in the wall on balcony here by trying to find an opportunity to hop out blue. That's what Morphed is looking for right now on the Wamai, playing him pretty aggressively just like he did in the last round, and why not? Found quite a bit of success in the last round. Estral, in the meantime, is also taking a much slower note. Normally we would have had some contest from them on at least one part of the map by now, but really aren't getting that. We've got Pixie at bottom garage taking control there, but that's it. They have been able to find Wamai's position, though, and he's going to get a nasty surprise. Pixie nearly is traded out in the process, but he keeps himself up with just a sliver of HP remaining.
Timbers are now in some trouble as Morph's off the board. No more Wamai, and obviously you can see all of that utility dumping into sight. They have plenty of map control as well. Nitro Cell down for default plant, so they will be able to deny off of the audio queue. That's exactly what they're waiting for. If that does end up happening, that means the diffuser will be stuck out in no man's land while all these crosses held. But Estral, very good at trading out those kills.
Just over a minute left here. As you said, Estral very good at trading, and they know that, which is more than likely why they're perfectly okay to follow this up so slowly. They've got this extra time. Why not use it? That's exactly what they're trying to do right now. The rest of their drones are being thrown out as well, just to confirm any intel. All the utility is going to be chucked in, waiting for that pre-placed Nitro Cell to go off if it hasn't already. In fact, no, there's going to be another one thrown over the tops. Toski was able to take out Raven in the meanwhile there, but Vector does confirm the kill into the initial planner. Do they have another one to stop this now is the question. The pressure coming from the inside of Cash is going to be enough, and yes, there is another Nitro Cell, so Sigma's thankfully dodges it this time, but no, ends up walking right past the Goyo shield and dies to that. Pixie trades again. Keep in mind, he's at low HP during all this as well and still picking up frags. Everything's on Vector now. Navy's just confirmed another player from the Goyo shield, but Pixie comes out on top with low HP as he finishes off Vector and finishes off map number 2 on Clubhouse, giving them a 2-0 lead in the series.